December 2020. I remember it well. It was the worst of months, but it was the best of months. Let's find out why. Hello YouTube, and a very special hello to all my subscribers. My name's Phil and welcome to my channel where I document my journey building an online income. So if you are doing the same thing, this is the channel for you. Now, some of you might notice that I've changed locations again. I'm in my new little office in my new apartment, and I'm just figuring out things, and hopefully I will improve the way that everything looks like in the future. But let's get on to today's video. So about a year and a half ago, in fact 19 months ago, I should figure out how to count some months, I started something called Project 24, trying to build websites to gain an online income. And I've been documenting my progress ever since. And this month we're going to be talking about month 19, which is for 3 sites that I've built. And we'll be talking about all the numbers in terms of Google Analytics, Google Search Console. I will also be giving you access to my Amazon data for all the money that I've made. And also new this month, a full month of earnings on Ezoic. And there are a few surprises. So make sure you stick around and watch the entire video. So let's jump into it. Okay, so here we are in the computer, and let's jump in and talk about those 3 different sites that I've been building for more than a year. And so let's start off with site 1, which is the oldest site. So site 1, I started back in May of 2019. It's around the 20th of May. And to be honest, it hasn't got a lot of articles on it. It's still only about 128. I haven't added many in the last couple of months. But the breakdown for that is about 95 response posts, 21 staple posts, 12 pillar posts. And that would have been a total kind of writing time of around 370 hours based on income score and how long they kind of recommend you spend on each post. I have outsourced around 24 articles, which cost me about $607. There's a very small YouTube channel which I haven't touched in more than a year. It's still on my to-do list. And this is a site monetized with Amazon and Ezoic. So let's jump in and look at the numbers for December. So in December, a difficult month for everyone, but I did learn a lot. This site got 16,883 page views, 92 of which are actually organic. So it's got a time on page of about 5 minutes and 43 seconds. The bounce rate is around 90%, but as I've mentioned in previous videos, for this kind of site, it's not a big problem because the way I style it, the answer's very much at the top of the post, and people, they get the answer and they probably bounce because they don't need to search for it anywhere else. But if we compare these page views from December to the previous month, it's down by about 23%. So in the previous month of November, I got 22,000, and it's down to about 17,000 now. And this may have been because of the Google update that happened around December, but it might also just be that there's a bit of a slump, because if you see around December the 24th, 25th, that's the lowest point in the month. So I think just this is something that naturally happens around December, but obviously I've never had a website with any traffic around this time, so I didn't know that. So let's also look at Google Search Console. So for December, the site 1 got 13,000, nearly 14,000 clicks, total impressions of 363,000. The average click-through rate is about 3.8%, and the average position is 21.5. And again, if we compare that to the previous month, you can see that very much the clicks are down from about 16,000 to 13,000, 14,000. And the total impressions from about 404,000 down to 363,000, and so on. So obviously December was a bad month for this particular site. If we jump over to site 2, which is in the wedding niche, this has not been touched for so many months. It really did fall by the wayside. Still only got the 34 articles there, the split being 20 response, 9 staple posts and 5 pillar posts. And that would have been a total writing time of about 116 hours. I totally outsourced this website to writers. It was kind of used to train up some writers, and it cost me just over $1,000 to do that. It is monetized now with Amazon links and Ezoic. And if we look at the actual traffic, So in the month of December, this site only got just over 1,000 page views. And I should say that this is a year old. It was launched in October the 31st, so it's just over a year old now. But this kind of shows what happens if you don't put enough articles on a website and you don't do very good search analysis, which was my case. I spoke about this in a previous video, but I totally rushed this. But this is interesting here because you can see that the average time on page across the site is only about 4 minutes. But for the organic views, which 93% of this is, it's 6 minutes. It's got a very high bounce rate though. Again, I don't think this is a massive issue for this kind of site, but it's interesting that this happens here. Let's compare that to last month. So last month it got just shy of 1,400 page views, and of course that's down to about 1,000 now. Everything's down, even the bounce rate kind of went up, as it were. So not a very good month for site 2 either. Again, let's look at the actual clicks and things like that in Google Search Console. So it got just over 1,000 clicks, it says, just over 13,000 impressions. The average click-through rate is very high compared to the other sites, just over 7%, and the average position also quite high, 25.6. If I compare that to the month of November, you can see that not a massive difference. It's saying 1.01 thousand for December and 1.14 thousand for November there. The impressions, there were more impressions in November. The click-through rate was higher, but the average position hasn't really changed, which is interesting. So I think, again, it's just suffering from perhaps people not searching around December. So this brings me on to site 3, which is also about a year and a month old. It's was set up in October 31st, 2019. It's got 67 posts on it at the moment. So that's a split of 30 response posts, 24 staple, 13 pillar. So again, this was entirely outsourced. I do all the editing on everything, but this got a total writing time of about 260 hours, and it's cost me sort of just over 3 grand as it stands. It doesn't have a YouTube channel like site 2, something perhaps I should maybe think of doing, even if it's just a support channel, you know, a couple videos and things to do with the articles. That might be a good idea. In terms of monetization, it's got Amazon links on it, although it doesn't perform as well as site 1 in terms of Amazon. It outperforms site 2 definitely, but that might just be a question of traffic. And it's also got Ezoic, which I put Ezoic back onto this site just last month. So in December, which is, as you can see, there's a theme for all my sites. It's not a great month. It got 19,170 page views, of which about 92% were organic. And you can see the time on page is just over 5 minutes, nearly 6 minutes. And it's also got that kind of high bounce rate of 91%. And if we compare this to last month, November, let's say, last month compared to December, again, it got hit by whatever happened in December, lost nearly 20% of the traffic. It was up to about 23,911, which was the highest amount of traffic I had for this site. And yeah, so everything was down again in December. And we've got that same thing where in, you know, December the 24th, 25th, really low traffic. If you compare, you know, 22nd to the 27th, it's kind of, I reckon if, you know, those days hadn't happened, then the traffic would be up by at least 1,000, maybe even, 2,000 possibly. Again, if we look at the Google Search Console, in December, I've got about 16,000 clicks, nearly 400,000 impressions, 388. The click-through rate, about 4.2, average position 17.6. Again, looking at November compared to December, we can see that the total clicks are down by about 2,000, and the impressions were down by 100,000 almost. That's crazy. The average click-through rate off by about 3%, 0.3%, and the average position was lower in November than December. So in terms of traffic, December's not been a great month. Everything's down. It was a little bit disconcerting. You know, obviously we put a lot of work into our websites, and suddenly this happens. It's a real bummer. But the thing is, in terms of money, it's a very different story, because I did put Ezoic back onto these sites. I hadn't had Ezoic on it for maybe 6 months because I had a bit of an issue. So what I did November, I switched over to WPX hosting, which is renowned to be a little bit faster than Bluehost. And I did that because there was a pretty good Black Friday deal. I got like a 2-year hosting for about $499, something like that, which was about, you know, something like $20 a month, which was pretty good for sites that are earning some money. So if you're kind of interested in how I'm building these sites and what I'm doing, well, I can tell you that I'm actually following a course by Income School, which is called Project 24, and it's taking you through all the steps that you need to build a successful website. The most important thing though is follow the steps. So one of the things I haven't been doing with these sites is actually posting more content. I've had a bit of an issue, not with the course, but actually with what's happened with Ezoic, and in the last month I've kind of moved. So the issue I have with Ezoic at the moment is I've got all my domains with a company called NameSilo. They kind of, they're the registrar, they hold on to those domains for me. Then I have to connect those domains to Ezoic using name service, point it over there. And then what I've done is on Ezoic, I've actually put in some A records in the DNS settings. Now, I'm not an expert, I don't really know how all this works, but this is what I did. And that points it over to my host at WPX. And there's an issue I have, which is basically I cannot log into my websites without major issues or being logged out and stuff like that. And it's just made posting infuriating. So this has been happening for about 2 months, and it's one of those things, I'm trying to fix it, but it's just, because it's an issue, it's been pushed down my list of things to do. So if you've noticed that my posts haven't really changed in the last couple of months, this is one of the reasons for it. Maybe that kind of sounds like a bit of an excuse, because it is. I should manage my time a little bit better. But the point I'm trying to make is that I don't think it's the course that I'm following that is failing me. I'm failing the course. I'm not doing what I should be doing each month. I'm getting distracted by other projects, particularly YouTube. So I do really recommend this course because it gets continually updated. And they even had a podcast last week where they were saying, we've suddenly figured out some new ways of doing things. So we're gonna, as quickly as we can, update that information so that everyone can kind of pivot and do this. And I like Project 24 for that, not because it kind of, they've done a course and that's it, but they keep changing it. And if they find a better way of doing things, they tell us, which I don't think any other guru or anyone online would ever do that. So these guys are really great. So if you want to find out a little bit more about Project 24, you can go into the description and there is a link that will take you over to a webinar to tell you all the details. Now, that is an affiliate link, and if you do want to buy through that, it really does help me out, helps me make these videos and continue this channel. So I do appreciate anyone that wants to buy through that link. So let's actually look at the money. Let's start with Amazon. So just looking at the US store for Amazon, in December, it got $136.04. And you can see that the clicks, I'm getting about 1,347 clicks, 189 items ordered, 13 were returned. So this would have been a little bit higher, obviously, if people didn't return those items. The conversion rate is about 14%. And I got a bonus of $3. The thing, obviously, I don't like to see is, so I made Amazon nearly $4 grand, let's say, and I get like $136. Okay, right, they're providing the service. Obviously, they should get their lion's share, but this is a real pain, right? Now, that was just for the US store. If we look at actually the other stores, so I was part of the UK store. I was also part of the Canadian store. Those are the 3 main that I do. But the Canadian store keeps kind of kicking me off because apparently on this channel, Passive Income Phil, I had a few Amazon logos and things on thumbnails or something like that, and they keep like kicking me out. And I make money, probably only a couple of dollars, but I don't think they're paying me that because they, I don't know, basically I'm not collecting that money. So for the month of December, I got a total of $147.74. So that's the US store giving me $136.04. The UK store is about £8.55, and the Canadian store should have given me around $5 Canadian. So I reckon the total earning from Amazon should be just north of $150 for that site, which is not big money, but that is, it's still, it's money. Basically, it's money. If we compare that to the previous month, so on the US store in November, I got $117.01. So we're up, by about $20. That's pretty good. The clicks, I got 1,275, which is, I think, yeah, it's a little bit less than I did in December. So that was going up. 123 items ordered, only one returned, and the conversion rate was much lower than December at 9%. So call it 10%. And again, I did get a little bonus. I don't know what the bonuses are for, but I will take it. Again, if we look at what's called the consolidated summary, in total, I got the $117.01 from the United States, £21.05 pence, I should say. I should know this, I'm British. From the UK, which is a total of $145.82. So it's just what, $2 difference from what I got in December. Let's have a look. Yeah, about $2. So fairly consistent over 2 months. That's pretty good. But the exciting news is actually I put the Ezoic ads back on and it made some money. So let's have a look. So in December, we can see down here, the total revenue for all of my sites, I'll do a breakdown in a minute, was $296.79. That was a EPMV on average of about $8. And you can see it's calculating all the visits. Now, probably these numbers don't add up to what I've just shown you in Google Analytics. I don't think they're showing the same kind of numbers in Ezoic. I haven't actually calculated it, but I'd imagine that's the case. Page views compared to visits. Now, if we just compare the general numbers to November, well, I only put on the ads around the 23rd of November. That's when I turned them on. But it made $46.72 there. And the EPMV was a little bit lower at about $6. But what I did is I actually broke down everything, all this revenue by the site and everything. So I've got some interesting numbers to show you now. Okay, so if we look at November compared to December, you'll notice that the total amount of money I made in November was $192.53. That's for Amazon and Ezoic. There's a little bit of money missing here and there, but I wouldn't say much more than about $10. But in December, I made $444.53. This is the most money I've ever made from websites ever in my life. And that's kind of up by 130% if my maths is correct, which it probably isn't. But that is a massive difference. And that's December. That is the worst month I've ever had in terms of traffic. The traffic nosedive, but the money is up there. So I think that as time goes on, this is only going to go up. So that's pretty cool. But just to give you kind of a breakdown of everything. So if we start with Ezoic in December, you can see site 1 made about $84, $85. Site 2 made about $10. So slowly I'm clawing back that investment of $1,000. It will only take me about 10 years. And site 3, as I was surprised by, but in terms of traffic, I wasn't surprised by. It made just over $200, nearly $202. So that's giving me the EPMV. Site 1 is at $5. It's not a very good site, I don't think. It's a passion of mine. I do enjoy the niche, but if I was looking at this purely in the money, it wouldn't be something I would pursue just for ads, I would say. In terms of site 2, the EPMV is nearly $10. I need to put a lot more material on this wedding niche site. Obviously, weddings are big business. and this is where I should really be cleaning up. And for site 3, the highest EPMV, $10.55. Now EPMV is earnings per milli view, or mil view, so milli, 1,000 views. And so that's Ezoic. For Amazon, you can see that site 1 gets a lot more Amazon kind of clicks and commissions. So site 1, I should be pushing more affiliate programs and ads probably. That's where I'm going to make the money. The wedding site, nothing from Amazon in November, and site 3 only made 33 cents. So you can see there's a bit of a difference between site 1 and site 3 where the money is going to come from. You can compare that to November. So obviously less money because I only put it on for about 7 days, Ezoic. Site 1 made $17. The EPMV is a lot lower than it was in December, but obviously that's because it wasn't running as long, I would say. Again, it's making the highest amount in Amazon. It made $106 in November. Site 2 only made 99 cents in ads in November, but again, it's got a pretty high EPMV compared to site 1. It didn't make any money from Amazon, doesn't make a lot of money from Amazon at all. That's why haven't been touching it, but I will be after looking at the numbers for December. Site 3, you can see that it made $28.69 in Ezoic. The EPMV is just shy of $10, so it's gone up since November. And it did actually make $10.86 in Amazon. So that's pretty good. So I kind of worked out the total EPMV for November for Ezoic was about $6.78. They tell me something different in Ezoic, but that's the average that I've done. So maybe they calculate it differently. And you can see, based on my calculations, is about $8.30 for December. But yeah, those are all the numbers, which gives me that total of December, $444.53. I'm pretty happy with that. And I can only see that going upwards. So I know that my numbers don't look very exciting compared to some other people that you might know. I like to follow Cole Broadbent. I'm really excited about what he's doing at the moment, and I'm way below what he's doing. But just for me, in my little case, the numbers are going up, and I think it's really exciting the fact that in my worst month in terms of traffic, I'm getting the most money I've ever got. So that's pretty cool. And I think the point I kind of want to make is that you can't give up on this stuff. You've got to persevere, because you're going to have tough months. It's going to take a long time. You're going to have people always kind of criticizing you, kind of suggesting maybe you should give up because, you know, it doesn't seem like it's worth your time. But some people are just gifted. Some people will just get this quickly. I'm not one of those kind of people. It takes me a while to learn things. I'm in my own bubble a little bit. But you know, as long as you get there slowly and surely, it's going to make the difference to your life. And that's kind of what I'm doing. So if you did enjoy this video and you want to watch more updates like this, then do give me a like, because it really helps me out with this video. And subscribe if you want to see this and get those notifications of new videos. And I will see you in one of those videos very soon.